March 14th, everybody, welcome back to JOJ, Jennie's favorite month.
It is. Notice all the purple.
All the purple. Jennie's
it's
purple.
Spring. It will be spring.
Will be soon. On Jennie's birthday.
On my birthday.
Yeah.
So it is. It's my favorite month.
She's always a spring chicken. That's why I married you.
So it is the first episode of the month, which means we get to play a fun game.
Well, we were live.
I just said this was the first, recorded episode of the month. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So we're going to play Who is More Likely To.
Okay.
Okay.
You've already looked at the questions.
Oh, you can see them. They've been sitting here.
Trying to get a leg up on
He
this.
said we couldn't pick both. I wanted to have a Jennie, Aught, or both.
Because it says who is more likely to, not who all or whom or something like that. Who.
Okay.
As a singular. Question number 1. Who is more likely to lose the remote?
Oh, definitely you.
Yep. Okay, so we both got a point on that one.
Yep.
Okay. Who is more likely to run out of gas? Still me.
I'm one of those people that if I get below a half, I want to fill up.
Yeah, and I'm, it says 12 miles. I know there's a gas station in 11.
Yeah.
Forget to flush the toilet.
How do you forget to flush the toilet?
I don't know.
I'm picking you.
You are very good at it.
You are. See, we needed a both.
How personal do you want to get into this? When I get up in the mornings, don't say you forget. There's no excuse.
I don't forget. It's in the middle of the night. And you actually get up to pee a lot more than I do, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the water ain't clear. Next.
So nobody got a point on that one.
I did. Come back from the grocery store without items he or she went to get in the first place.
That's me.
Oh, I see. I could have went both on that.
It could have been either
I was going to say me, because if I don't have a list, I will have went to the grocery store to get bread.
Right.
But I'll walk in and think, oh, well, we needed milk, we need some butter, and I'll get everything but bread.
Everything but bread, yeah.
You'll just forget to go to the grocery store altogether.
Completely.
Yes.
Yeah, this is true.
Go to bed angry. You're cheating.
Yeah.
You're looking to see what I'm picking.
No, that's definitely you. I'm not. I mean, I don't know that I am angry very often.
I know.
Who is more likely to
see, I didn't read all of these.
Tell off a waiter or coworker? We both manage that pretty good.
I don't think either one of us. I would say me, because I would yell at you. You're my coworker. I don't think either one of us would ever tell. I mean, I waited tables for years.
Yeah, but tell off is very strong.
Yes.
I would definitely tell.
You would complain.
I would complain.
I would not.
I
would eat my cold food now. I just wouldn't eat. I just wouldn't say anything. I'd pay for it and I'd leave.
Oh, you'd say stuff. It'd be to me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Say it to the waiter.
You would pay. You'd leave a nice tip and then get in the car and say, "I can't believe they served that food out there like that."
Yeah, I would.
Who is more likely to lock the keys in the car?
I'd say me.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because I'd get distracted.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh.
Who's more likely to get arrested? I'd probably me, because I'm going to say me.
Why would you get arrested? I would just say me, because I was a little more of a wild child.
Because I forgot to buy a fishing license.
Don't get arrested for that.
Okay, maybe you caught too many fish. Too many walleye.
To get a tattoo.
To get a tattoo?
I'd say me.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want one.
I hate needles.
Yeah, you would pass out before it was ever even done.
Jennie is not that scared of them.
No.
Sleep in and be late for work.
See, this one should have been a both, because I feel like you would sleep through your alarm 100%.
How many tournaments have I fished in my life?
Well, I mean, this is for work, not for tournaments. He apparently has a very different, well, I'm thinking like a job, whatever. Just put me. I'd sleep in.
Okay,
I'd be late.
Thank you.
If it makes you happy.
I've fished hundreds of tournaments at this point, and I've not overslept yet.
Well, now you're going to.
I could. And I'll blame that on Andy for not waking me up.
Well, I just mean you don't, when it's tournament, he has no problem getting up. But if it's anything else in life, it's, I'm so tired, I want to get up.
Who is more likely to spend more money than they can afford?
Really?
Yeah.
What are you buying?
Because I mean, if you were like balancing the checkbook and stuff,
we're failing this bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna say no, I can't do this. Where I'm just gonna spend it and hope for the best. If I wanted it, I'm probably gonna go ahead and buy it, and it'll be, you know.
Okay.
Electrocute themselves. Definitely Blondie.
Whatever. I'm not even commenting. To tell a white lie to avoid hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah, that.
There's a story to go along with this recently this week.
Really,
hey, that was it. I don't know who won. We're
about all winners. It's 2021, babe. Duh. Everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
Last episode, we ended with 2008. Ott had been laid off. Still didn't have sponsors, and
it had a good year fishing.
Yes.
I mean, the best year we'd ever had fishing,
yes.
as far as just, you know, winnings wise from fishing. But yeah, job was over.
Our safety net was gone, basically.
Right. Exactly. So that was late 2008, and I don't remember exactly. Was it in December when we found out?
I feel like it was like end of December, maybe. Yeah. I mean, very late December.
Yeah.
Maybe like even between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, it seems like that for some reason. But with FLW, we had, you know, tried our best for a couple of years. I mean, the time we'd spent there, you know, working on what was called a team deal back then, where you would become a part of one of the FLW sponsors, and they'd have anglers, and you know, that's what we'd worked with the people there, you know, trying to get in on that, and yeah, very, very late December when we were kind of in between. Didn't really. I mean, we knew we were going to fish again, but you know, didn't really know how the rest of the bills were going to get paid unless fishing was great. That was when we got some good news that we would be getting an FLW team deal.
Yep, and we were was with Land O'Lakes, which if you've known us since then, you know, was bright yellow and red, everything.
Everything, yeah.
You know, and of course we were ecstatic, like you know, just you know, most of those deals, a lot of times you would get at least your entry fees paid for. Sometimes you would get more expenses and that stuff, but for us it was our entry fees, and I mean, just the weight of that
was huge,
major at that time.
Yeah,
so
for sure. That was it was all the entry fees in the FLW tour, and like half of them in the FLW series. I want to say it was $35,000.
Yeah, I think that was right.
Was what it was. It was actually no cash in pocket.
No, but it covered our entries and then half for the other series. So.
Yeah, so I mean, it allowed me to fish, you know, what I had been spending that much money on. Boom! That's 4 checks, you know, that I didn't have to get. Yeah, 4 tournament winning checks, you know, so or placing in them. So the verse on this one that we'd looked up was Ecclesiastes 3:1, and it's that there's an appointed time for everything, and there's a time for every event under heaven, and that was that timing of the end of 2008, you know, to get started into 2009. That timing of that. We would have loved to have known that, to have had it 2 years before, you know. I mean, but it was definitely, God showed us that, you know, hey, it was about a month or 2 there that we didn't really know. I mean,
we were just waiting.
Yeah, it was, it's in the grand scheme of things, a month and a half, 2 months isn't that long, but
at the time it seemed forever.
It seemed like eternity. When we were sitting there each day, we'd wake up and look at each other and be like, well, I ain't going to work today. It's so minimal looking back on it, but at the time it definitely was not.
Yep. So the rest of that year, it was pretty uneventful. I mean, you know, we just going to tournaments and did well.
Yeah, it was a good year. No wins or anything, but definitely a good year.
Good year. You know, and you know, we're excited because we're kind of like feel like we've made it. Yeah. You know, like this is what we've been working for, and so you know, of course, we had Abby and traveling, and you know, this time we're hauling a camper, and we had no real reason that we had to be home. No. Like.
And that was the first time it had been that way, because it was always a tournament over. I need to get home, needed to get back to work. But with that sponsorship and no job to go back home to, but fishing was going plenty well enough that and we were kind of going from tournament to tournament. And
we had some time off in between. And
fishing wise, all in all, made the Forest Wood Cup. I remember making that again that year. But it was, I want to say it was at the Forest Wood Cup, which that was, my first year with Land O'Lakes. And another guy on their team that had been on their team for several years made the Forest Wood Cup. I made the Forest Wood Cup. That other guy actually won a tournament that year on Kentucky Lake. I made a top 10 in that one. I had a top 10 in another tournament or two. I mean, it was, if you looked at it as far as the year that the team Land O'Lakes had compared to their 2008, 7, 6, several years prior, this was far and away the best year.
Everybody
team
had
Land
a pretty
O'Lakes
good, because they had co-anglers and, regular anglers. And, I mean, it was just kind of across the board. Everybody had a really good year that year.
Everybody had a good year as far as team Land O'Lakes was concerned. And, I mean, we're thinking, we're like, we're in for next year. It's going to be good.
Maybe we'll get a raise and all the interest fees will be covered.
Yeah, and I want to say it was at the Forest Wood Cup.
I think you're right.
The people who managed the team from Land O'Lakes were like, hey, we just, we know you all are supporting the family. Just want you to be aware that it's not looking good for Land O'Lakes to come back next year. And that's kind of a gut punch, because here we are thinking, what was all, what was all this good fishing? I mean, obviously it was good for us too. But it's like, here we've done a bunch of really good fishing, promoting your brand, all this kind of stuff, but it's like it made no difference.
No, they weren't renewing, and so everybody that was on the team was no longer at Land O'Lakes. And like Ott said, it was just kind of a gut punch of, okay, so, and two, I think in our minds we thought, well, we had a really good year. It probably won't be hard to get picked up on a different team.
Yes.
Because there's all kinds of teams. So, I think naively we had that mindset of like, okay, well, if they're going away, I'm sure we'll get picked up and be on another team.
We'll get something else, and it was actually a guy who managed the National Guard team. We had actually gotten really close with him. He was really close with the people at FLW, but he managed the National Guard team and their anglers and stuff. Great Christian guy, and we'd gotten very close with him, and that was the team really we wanted to be on.
We really wanted to be on the National Guard team. Like that was one we really prayed about, and
really took care of their anglers. Obviously, like what they stand for. Didn't get it when we got the Land O'Lakes deal, but we thought, well, he knows where we're at.
Yeah, sure.
He'll make room for us over there. But as it got close, as it got later and later in the year, that didn't come through. It didn't happen. And this is the part where us, and it was all God's timing in it so much. Once it got to be September, October, I'm going to say, in which I was running a Ranger and I had a Yamaha on it at that point in time. Somewhere in that September, October time frame, we had talked about it, we had prayed about it, and we knew, even then, all the time we'd been at FLW, it was really because we couldn't get into the Bass Opens when we started. Yeah,
we tried to sign up, and they were so full, the wait list was so long that we were like, we're just not even going to
pursue it.
We can't, we'll be waiting, and then if we don't get in, then we can't sign up for the FLW stuff. So we decided, what, if we could get in the FLW, so let's go, and that's where we started.
That was why we started there. So at this point, we're kind of back thinking, hey, maybe this is God saying, I've shown you what it can be here. I've shown you how it can go away here, because that was what that Land O'Lakes sponsorship taught us at that point in time. That's just kind of the way the economy was. That's the way that was structured there, was that in some ways, unfortunately, you didn't have a lot of control over it. It was, you were kind of left at their, under their thumbnail a little bit. So we wanted to control ourselves. We wanted
to, if we had a sponsor, we wanted to know that it was direct with them. Like it, we realized at that point, I think, with getting the team deal and then it going away, we've always watched the bass stuff, so we know how that operates over here. Everybody's kind of has their own sponsors independently, and so like I said, I think it was just all right, like if this is what we're going to do in the long run, this is our time. I think we need to see about we need making a switch.
Yeah, and so it was I'm gonna say September, October, and like I said, I had a little deal with Yamaha at that point in time, and we knew that to get in the Opens, they had a sponsorship exemption type deal where you could work with your sponsor. They had so many slots, and you could use one of those slots. So we signed up, which is what's funny. We signed up
with
under Yamaha to fish the Opens in 2010, the first year. I think the first one I actually still fished out of my Ranger on Okeechobee. I know I did.
You say you did, but I swear I don't remember.
I did.
I feel like we were in our Nitro. But I don't know.
Yeah, I know I did.
I remember
the pictures of it is what I remember. That's why I remember it. But that was that fall also. So we're like, we're going to fish the Opens, but we're going to still fish. The schedule worked where we can still fish the FLW Tour the next year. So that was going to be what we did. No String Series, no FLW Series, FLW Tour Bass Opens was going to be our schedule.
Yep. And I don't even know, did Chris call you? Or?
No, I called Chris because the store manager at our local Bass Pro, like 2009, 2008, maybe even 2007, 2008 and 2009 for sure, when they'd have the Spring Fishing Classic over here in Kodak. He would call me and say, hey, if you want to come in a day or two, we'll pay you, come into the store, do some tank demos, that kind of stuff. And so I've done that for a couple of years. And
you met Chris. Chris was a co-angler.
Well, right? Eric Winter.
Eric was the co-angler.
But he and Chris were friends.
He and Chris were friends, yes. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just another little, in God's timing. Like, because Eric is the store manager
in Charlotte.
At that Bass Pro, but he was Ott's co-angler.
Back then, he was a Walmart store manager in Morristown.
Yes.
He drew me out in a BFL on Cherokee.
Yes, and so he and Ott hit it off, and then he and Chris Vaden, who's our store manager here in Kodak.
They worked together at Kodak.
Yes, and so he kind of, put the word in, hey, Ott's a great fisherman, if you ever need anything, and vice versa. So we met Chris, and he's still one of our greatest friends, and he knows we thank him all the time, because we wouldn't be sitting where we are without those two being
without those guys helping that along. And that was, Chris had always told me, he was like, hey, if we can ever do ever do more for you, let me know. We'll work these spring classics and stuff. And so around that time, when we knew we'd be fishing the Opens, didn't want to, our only chance, we were told, with getting a team deal, was to buy another Ranger.
Oh yeah, we needed to be in a Ranger. Like that was just kind of how FLW was set up. Like, if you wanted to be in any kind of team deal, you needed to be in a Ranger. And so that's why we were always in a Ranger.
And buying a new one each year.
Yes, and buying a new one each year, and obviously it's very expensive. Then you got to go through the buying and selling and all that. And but I think with the loss of Land O'Lakes, we were just kind of like, okay, if we're going to do something different, let's, now.
Yeah, now's the time.
Which meant changing everything.
Yeah.
And so I called Chris.
Yeah, I called Chris and just was like, hey, let's go fishing. I'd like to talk with you, son. So I remember we went to Douglas and went fishing. And I was like, you've always made the statement, call me if there's any more we can do. I said, so what can you do? I mean, I literally asked you that. But this was after we'd been fishing, and, we was talking, we'd actually brought up the Eric Winter story, and where I went to this little shallow place between some rocks and stuff. And, I'm telling Chris, who I'm hoping will turn into a potential sponsor, I'm like, man, I look at a boat as a tool. It's something I use to, if it gets dirty, if it gets scratched, it is what it,
Yeah.
But, this is also the guy that I'm kind of trying to work out a boat deal with.
I'm going to destroy your boat, more than likely.
Yeah, just possibly. But yeah, Chris was who definitely got us in there. So it was it definitely was an interesting time.
And that's what he did, is he said that we could use a boat.
Yeah, that was what our deal ended up being. Right. Yeah. So
he said, at our level, I can get you like a store boat. You can use it and turn it. Basically, we borrowed the boat for the year. Which in turn put us in a Nitro and Mercury.
Yeah.
But we, used our sweet little guy at Yamaha to get us into the Open. So calling him, which he
completely understood.
Yes, every time I see him still to this day, he gives me a hug, and I mean, he knew that we were just doing what was best for business. It wasn't hard feelings or being mad at them or anything.
Not at all. Yeah.
But yeah, so we, but here we are, like, we're hopeful because we've, to us, we don't have to buy a boat this year.
Right.
So that's a big savings.
Yeah.
And, we're going to, I guess the lines are drawn at this point because when we show up to an FLW in our Nitro, it very much says where we're headed.
Yeah.
Where we hope to be. Yeah. So we knew at that point.
And we weren't the first. That was kind of around the time we started, 07, 8. I remember like Bobby Lane had left in maybe 08. And, a couple.
A few more.
Yeah, some really good guys, even guys who were team deal guys with FLW had already made the transition over. Steve Kennedy. Yeah. A lot of those guys had already made the transition over to Bass at that point in time.
Yeah, and I know like the Tharps, like Sarah and Randy came with us. Yeah, we were the same year.
We were the same year. So that was, there was that transition in sport. It wasn't a mass leave like we've seen in recent years, but it was that kind of steady trickle of 2, 3, 5 guys, really good high profile guys going from FLW to Bass. So it was. Well, yeah, exactly what Jennie said. It was pretty clear when we showed up at the first event in a Nitro Bass Pro wrap. What our intentions were. It definitely was. So, and that was definitely our focus that year. What was that? So, I think that kind of wraps it up. 2009. We know at that point we're fishing the Opens. We're fishing FLW.
Still have no sponsors.
Still have. Bass Pro. It was. Really no cash in hand. It was just it was I
should say back to no.
Yeah,
back to paying entry fees.
Correct. Back to everything being out of pocket. Yeah. On our end, but still no job. Don't forget that part.
Well, you never really got another job.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Still never went back to work.
Yep.
I wasn't the star employee. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and see you next week.